And welcome to Winning Retirement TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. Kristen, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Always a pleasure to see you.
You as well.
Thank you. And Greg, how are you today?
I'm excited for today's show, so I'm doing great.
I'm excited about today's show. I mean, the topic is maybe not that exciting when you think about it. It's taxes and retirement. No one gets excited about that, but it's an important topic that we have to cover. So, Greg, I've heard you say this more than once, and I love this. I wrote this down. It says that an IRA is an IOU to the IRS. I'd like to talk a little bit more in depth about that, and how does it apply to accounts such as the 401k, the 403b, or deferred compensation plans?
Oh, all the deferred accounts.
Yes.
Well, the 401k, the 403b, the 457 deferred compensation plans, and even the thrift savings plans for federal employees are right in the same family as the IRA. They are what we call tax deferred. Now, tax deferred means exactly what it says. We don't pay the taxes now. We get to pay them later. Yes.
Okay.
So, and you know, the idea was always, well, you know, 20, 30 years ago, the idea was, well, taxes will be lower when we retire. You know, our incomes perhaps will be lower, tax rates maybe will be lower, but we're starting to come to a place, you know, where that might not be the case. And we'll talk about that maybe later in the show, but every time we put money in one of these tax deferred accounts, in essence, what we're saying is we are taking a loan out from Uncle Sam, because they give us what we call a deduction. Okay. So if we put $5,000 a year into our company 401k plan, then say we make $50,000 a year. Well, if we put $5,000 into the 401k, we now only pay tax that year on $45,000. So our accountants and our CPAs and our tax professionals are saying, hey, put as much as you possibly can into your IRA, or put as much as you possibly can into your 401k. A lot of times, just before tax time, someone will write a check to an IRA for $6,000 or $7,000 so that they can reduce their taxes that particular year.
Because it feels good today, right? It feels good to say I'm saving on my taxes right now. But, you know, we would encourage, like Greg always talks about on the show, to think about the future more than today, because those IRAs get really big. And where do you think taxes are going to go?
Up.
With the trillions and trillions of dollars that our country has in debt, with the inflation that we've talked about on the shows here recently, with all the things going on in our economy right now, there's really only one way for taxes to go, and that's up. They're not going down.
Sure.
And I believe our current tax rates expire in 2025, correct?
That's correct.
Wow.
So we have to start planning for the near future. I saw this meme the other day. When you say 30 years ago, what's the first year that pops in your head?
30 years ago, I'm going to have to go with 1990.
So you had to think about it.
I did. I hate
So
math.
truthfully, you thought 1970. At least that's what I mean, you kind of default to 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, there's this generation right now that thinks of the 70s as 30 years ago. The math is not right.
That works for me.
Okay.
The math is not right.
I was thinking about
I saw
that.
this meme and I'm like, that's not true. And then I thought, okay, well, maybe the 70s do pop in your head, you know, when you really think about it, if you're not doing the math. And so, well,
Let's talk about the 70s for
I
a
know
minute.
that, yeah.
In 1975, what do you think the top tax rate was?
Ooh, that's a great one. 1975, top tax rate.
No.
12%. I don't really know. I just wanted to throw something at you.
I like that, though.
No,
That's better than my question. You got mine right, yeah.
That wasn't even the minimum tax rate. I
don't know.
But if in 1975, if you made $200,000 a year, you were in the 70. You were in the 70s. You were in the 70% tax bracket.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I was kind of far off from that. Okay.
So today, you can make over $340,000 and be in the 24% tax bracket. So I have a question for you at home. Why are you delaying your taxes? Are you delaying them because you love gifting money to Uncle Sam later? I mean, think about it. So an IRA is an IOU to the IRS because we're borrowing from our future now. We're delaying taxes till later.
Boy, that's a way to think of it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if you fully trust the government, keep delaying. I don't think folks really fully trust the government, do you? They can't make up their minds about anything. They can't stop spending. If you and I spent the way the government spends, we would be bankrupt.
Absolutely.
I mean, we would.
And I don't think at this point there's any difference between any administrations. I mean,
my
in
goodness.
general, the
No, they all
government-
want to spend our money.
That's right,
And they're not
that's
spending.
right.
How much money does the federal government have? They have this much. It's all money that's collected from the American people.
Yeah.
And so that money is being spent, and later on they're going to ask for it back.
100%.
But
They're
here's
gonna
the
ask for it
thing.
back.
Here's the thing. You can't control, right? To some extent, by voting, you can control what the government does. But even that, I don't know always pans out,
They
right?
seem to forget once they get into Washington.
Right,
though.
right.
Yeah.
So, but control what you can. Can you
Yes.
control your spending? Right? Were you watching today? Can your family control how you budget and how you spend? Can you control how you defer your taxes? Of course you can. You can make that decision for yourself.
Sure.
We can't always decide everything for ourselves. So control what you can control and make decisions for the problems you have to make decisions for that you can control.
That's true.
And you know, Kristen, the families we meet with that are 59 and older, something they hate almost as much as taxes is debt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, they're wanting to get their houses paid off. They don't want to borrow money for cars. They want to make sure they're debt free. Well, you know, I met with someone recently, and they had $500,000 in their deferred accounts. They'd done well saving. They'd saved over $500,000 in those accounts. And so we ran an analysis for them. And what was interesting is over the next, they're in their early 60s, if they lived to 90, between what they paid on tax for the required minimum distributions, if they didn't need those distributions and they reinvested it, the tax they'd pay on the reinvestment and what their beneficiaries would owe with money left over was over $600,000 in taxes on $500,000 of deferred money.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
With a strategic approach to to converting from a traditional plan to a Roth over the next few years, they would pay about $125,000 in tax.
Wow.
What a difference.
Absolutely
big.
it is. That's
Now,
staggering.
and if you would like to figure out how much tax you could potentially owe or potentially save by having the right strategy,
We've created a great resource
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you. So right on our website, we've actually created a new landing page. It's Test My Retirement. And you just go to testmyretirement.com and click on Learn More, and it'll take you to this analysis that Greg's talking about. You'll input a few numbers, and then you'll get this report that'll show up for you. You can do it from the comfort of your home. Sometimes you're, maybe cooking breakfast, hanging out, doing a few things with the show running in the background, and this is something easy for you to do. You don't have to call to do it. You can just go right to the website, testmyretirement.com, and click on Learn More.
I love that. And Kristen, how long does that take to do?
Just a couple minutes.
That's
Super easy.
fantastic. Perfect time for us to open up the phone lines. Would you both agree?
Absolutely.
All right. To the viewers at home, the number to call is 614-336-7660. We know you have a lot of questions for Greg and Kristen about taxes and retirement. They have the answers for you. Again, remember, Test My Retirement. What a great way for you to find out where you're going to be and if you need to make any changes right now along the way. Again, 614-336-7660. We'll be right back after this very short commercial break with taxes in retirement. Stay tuned.
Living a life is building a legacy. A legacy of milestones. Your first home, raising your children, becoming grandparents, and memories. From the first steps across the living room floor to the walk down the aisle, at every stage, your family is the most important part of your life, and you want to protect them, now and in the future. Which is why the decisions you make today are so important. You've worked hard to provide a better life for your loved ones. Now is the time to make sure that lasts. Build a legacy that will influence generations to come. Plan smart. Retire well with Legacy Retirement Group.
And welcome back to Winning Retirement TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. Today's show is such an important show, taxes and retirement. And obviously going into segment 2, I wanted to talk a little bit right now about those in the viewing audience that could be within the variable rate mortgages, if you will. People are starting to feel a pinch on their budget. Obviously, tax rates could increase in the near future. If so, how could that impact our retirement overall?
Oh, it could be huge, as far as our budgets in retirement, figuring out, okay, what's it cost to live and what's it cost for my lifestyle, right? And so a lot of that's determined by things that we can't control. We can't control inflation and what the price of gasoline has done in the last year or so, or the groceries at the grocery store, all those types of things. But there is something that we can start taking a forward look at. Okay. We can start to control. And it's the thing about taxes, because we talk about the potential all the time of tax rates going higher in the future.
Right. Sure.
But there's 4 ways that I want our viewers to really pay attention to today and learn as to how they could be going higher in the future.
Okay.
Because if I ask 10 people, will taxes be the same 10 years from now? Will they be higher or will they be lower? I don't think I've ever had someone tell me they would be the same or lower. Everybody believes that they'll be higher. So how could they get there? Well, one, our tax brackets could change.
Okay.
Which I alluded to in the last segment.
Yes.
That
Right.
they're going to change it by 2025. Yeah.
Well, not just that, but how much income we have coming in. You see, we work with a family right now. They're in their mid-70s, and neither of the two made more than $30,000 a year when they were working. But they had done such a fabulous job of saving. And by the way, they retired about 10 years ago. They didn't really need to withdraw from their investment account. So that's just about doubled in the time they've been retired. And so now their Social Securities, a small pension they have, and their required minimum distributions are more income than they earned while they were working. So believe it or not, today they're actually in a higher tax bracket because of their required minimum distributions than they were when they were working.
Wow. Okay.
And
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
so your tax bracket could go up just because of the money you've saved and not wanting those distributions. But guess what? When it comes to required minimum distributions, Uncle Sam doesn't care. You have to take them out.
Right.
And if you don't, they whack you with a 50% penalty.
I can't believe that. 50% penalty.
50%. It's crazy.
Now, here's the one thing. If you're watching today and you're thinking, oh, my word, I forgot to take mine. Usually, we work with a CPA that can help draw up a letter and get that in. And as long as you tell on yourself before someone in, the IRS, Uncle Sam, finds out, then you can make amends on it. You can figure it out. Kind of like with our kids. We always tell them, if you tell us the truth now.
Yes, Cameron came downstairs the other day. And so we've been on this mission to try to get our boys' rooms to look like, a disaster area hasn't happened.
To get our boys to get their rooms to not look like.
Exactly.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
So Mom spent, within a couple week time, Mom spent probably 10 or 15 hours helping the boys get their rooms, to be livable.
Just right.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So the other day, Cameron comes downstairs, and he knows we're going upstairs here in a little bit, and he says, just so you know, my room's a little messy right now.
So give me about 10 minutes. Don't come in there yet.
So he's asking for forgiveness, right? Well, the IRS actually, in any time that we've had our CPAs assist someone that forgot, has given forgiveness, so that you can tell on yourself.
Okay.
But also, the government can change tax rates.
Yeah.
So your tax rate could go up because of your income, or the government could change tax rates. And if you look at how much the government owes in debt, now over $31 trillion.
Unbelievable.
They're going to have to come back to us at some point. They talk about the wealthy, but the the wealthy is going to become smaller and smaller until they finally get the money they need.
Yeah.
So that could be a problem. The second problem could be that new taxes are enacted. Last year during the Build Back Better conversations, there was actually legislation that was proposed. Now, it didn't become law, but it was proposed that if our IRAs or 401ks grew to be over a certain level, that no matter what age you were, you would have a required minimum distribution. Guess what the required minimum distribution amount was going to be?
I don't know.
50% each year of the overage.
Wow.
So in other words, if they made the threshold $1 million, if you saved $2 million, you'd have to take 50% of it out that year, then you'd have to take 50% out again the next. Now,
Oh my gosh.
They're trying to generate tax revenue.
Of course
That's
it
all
is.
it is.
Where
now
my mind went.
that didn't become law then, but think about their mindset right now, where they're trying to go with this.
That's true.
And by the way, the wealthy, the billionaires don't have huge dollars in IRAs. They've got it built up in their businesses.
Yeah.
So where are they coming to? They're coming to the millionaires.
Yeah.
The millionaires, the ones that work so hard and save so hard and were so diligent. They're kind of getting penalized again for being successful. So new laws can be enacted. They definitely can.
Okay.
The third reason taxes could go up is deductions can be eliminated. Now, right now, a lot of deductions already went away, like, deducting mortgage interest, things like that. That went away several years ago during the 2017 tax and budget program that was set up. So that can, the rules can always change. That's the thing
Right.
about the government. The rules can always change.
So you're going to plan right now, but know that the plan, like we say it positively. In this case, it's not so positive, but it's a living, breathing organism. It's going
Sure.
to change, right?
Yeah.
Remember when the Stretch IRA was used, the Stretch IRA, I kind of put that all together, was used to do some planning for inheritance. And that was taken away.
Yeah.
Now heirs can't stretch it over their whole lifetime like they used to be able. That's not to do with taxes, but that was also another way to generate tax revenue from the government.
Oh, sure. And then finally, the fourth way I believe taxes could go up is that the way assets are taxed can change. So they could change the rate of capital gains tax. They could say that capital gains are no longer at a capital gains tax rate, but they're now all at ordinary income tax rates. Could they change that? Absolutely, they
course.
could. Yeah. During the Clinton administration, capital gains tax rates were as high as 30%. So, I mean, they weren't always as low as they are right now. And also Social Security.
I was going to say Social Security as
Wow.
well. It can be taxed differently.
Well, yeah, when Social Security first came about in 1935, guess how much of it was taxed?
How much?
Zero. Zero. It wasn't until 1983 when Congress said, you know what? People are living too long now. We've got to start collecting tax from some of that money, right? Because people weren't expected to live more than 2 or 3 years in collecting Social Security.
When it was originally set up.
In
Yeah.
1935, a lot of people never lived long enough to collect it at age 65. So 50% of Social Security became taxable. In 1993, 85% of it became taxable. I think the day's coming where 100% of our Social Security becomes taxable.
So you're paying tax on money you already paid a tax on. That doesn't sound fun.
No, not
Does it
at
sound
all.
fair?
No.
No, and so we save money in these deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks, and guess what? We get to pay tax on not just what we saved with our deduction, but all the growth. And forevermore, the more our IRA or 401k grows, the more we owe to Uncle Sam. And it's the only loan I know of where we will let them tell us later how much we owe in interest.
That is crazy when you think about it. Well, Greg, I know the viewers at home are wondering, what can they do? Do you have a special offer to present today?
Yes, our complete planning review, because we think you need to look at the, as our kids would say, the whole pack, right? You need to know if you're efficient with your risk you're taking, if you're efficient with your income, are you being efficient with taxes? And if you're not, how do you fix it? Healthcare, your legacy or estate plan, all those things. And if you call in, if you're one of the first 10 callers today that call in, we're going to do a complimentary tax map for you to show you how you can go from the tax deferred owing Uncle Sam to potentially tax free, at least with your deferred assets, and have a plan in place for this. Folks, we just want to make sure nothing's slipping through the cracks for you and your family. So call us. One of the first 10 callers, 614-336-7660. Give us a call right now at 614-336-7660.
Greg, thank you so much. Kristen, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is on your screen. That number is 614-336-7660. We're going to take a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, it's time for a viewer question, and this one could be your very own. Stay tuned.
Plan smart, retire well. How do you do that? Many times we meet families and they actually think they have a plan.
But what about when you want to upgrade your house? What about when your wife wants to buy new furniture?
No investment decision should be made outside the context of a plan. So what is your plan? We believe in the 3-bucket approach as it comes to your finances. Your liquid bucket, which is what I call the sleep well at night account, for when the what ifs happen in life. Your income bucket, which is there to meet the gap between Social Security, maybe a pension, and what you really want to live in. We believe you should protect that income, then grow the rest. And then your growth bucket. The growth bucket's really focusing on helping you achieve your growth goals. As you transition from your working career to retirement, we want that to be the greatest moment of your life, and we don't want you to fumble the ball.
So imagine, when you're working, you're getting a paycheck. When you're retired, you have to pay yourself. The 3-bucket approach is a really easy way for people to start compartmentalizing what they're doing with their money.
We want you to be successful in any economy. We want you to thrive no matter what's going on. Worry and fear and greed are the biggest problems when it comes to investing. We want to take that off the table, and we want to make sure you have a consistent growth strategy. We want you to be just as successful in your retirement plan as you were in your accumulation plan.
And welcome back to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. My favorite part of the show every week, the viewer question. I just love to hear what people are thinking and what they want to ask both of you. So are we ready?
Yes.
Okay. This is a viewer. His name is Joe. It says, I have been watching for several months now, and I love your show. I am 63. My wife is 62. We plan to retire in 2 years. Together, we have saved around $850,000 in our 401k accounts. I hear you talk about the Roth IRA and becoming tax efficient, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to make the jump just yet. Is there a tool that I can use to better understand the potential tax implications of remaining in tax deferred versus converting to a Roth? Kristen?
Well, first, before I answer this question, I think I need to explain what Greg meant on the last segment when he said the whole pack. The kids like to say the whole pack.
Okay.
So when the boys were younger, they liked Imaginext toys. I don't know if you've ever seen those. They're like the Barbies of boy toys, kind of.
Like Batman and Robin.
You have a cave,
Okay.
and then you get all these little sets, right? They reel you in. You have the cave, and then you have the Batman set, and then you have the Robin set, then you have Catwoman, and you have this, and
The Joker.
They all go together, right? So when the boys were little, they'd want all the pieces to it. We had all these sets, and it was just like Barbie's, only boy toys. And so that was the whole pack. And so I think
Okay.
what this viewer wants is the whole pack. They want to understand
Right.
how all this fits together and what they can do to make it most efficient.
Absolutely.
I just had a
Analogy.
vision of sitting down in the basement on the floor with our bat set with the boys, and I always had to be the bad guy.
Yeah, you did.
And so I was a joker. I'm like, Batman, I'm going to get you. And that makes me think of Uncle Sam saying, you deferred, and now I get to get taxes on all this money. But for those who come in, being more serious here, we test these things. So for those who schedule meetings and come in, we'll do a test on the portfolio to make sure it's efficient. And we actually have income software we use to help people build an actual income plan for their retirement. And then the tax map we use to lay out the potential taxes if they just stay deferred, what RMDs might look like later, and the potential benefit of doing a Roth conversion. So that's all part of it. And so we have a program, though, Cynthia, that will allow people, you at home, to go ahead and test it for yourself to make sure, to see, is my tax bill really going to be that bad if I just keep deferring, or what could it possibly look like?
Let's talk a little bit more about that. Kristen, that is the Test My Retirement?
Yeah. So, Joe, it sounds like you want the whole pack, like we just discussed, the whole portfolio analysis, really getting everything in order. But you may be watching today and say, I just kind of want an idea of how this works. What does that mean? I might want to convert from an IRA to a Roth IRA, or what are my taxes going to look like based on the amount of dollars I've saved in those deferred income accounts? Well, it's really easy to look at it from home. You just go to testmyretirement.com and you click on Learn More, and it takes you to a third-party site that we've linked to our website there, and it'll allow you to input those numbers in one at a time, and you're able to go through it. It just takes a couple minutes just from the comfort of your home and really find out if it makes sense. Now, you may get the report and say, I need a follow-up on that. And at that point, you can call our office at 614-336-7660.
And Kristen, inside there, when they're filling out the information, so the information you'll need to put in is, okay, what do you have in tax deferred? So if you've saved $300,000 in tax deferred, it can help you understand what your tax bill to the IRS could be. If you saved $500,000, if you saved $1 million, if you save $5 million, whatever that number is, you input it, you put the tax rate that you think is appropriate. Now, if you make over $80,000 a year as a family, that would be the 22% federal tax rate, and then figure here in the state of Ohio, that'd be at least 3% state. So that would be approximately 25%. And then what, the average rate of return you think you might earn, whether it be 5 or 6 or 7%, all that will indicate what your possible tax bill for retirement could be.
I love that. Testmyretirement.com. Thank you both so much. Greg, thank you for an amazing show. Kristen, thank you so much as well. To our viewers at home, most specifically, we'd like to thank you for spending time with us today. That number to call is 614-336-7660. We know you have a lot of questions about taxes and retirement. Greg and Kristen have the answers for you. Be safe, be happy, be blessed, and we'll see you back 1 week from today on Winning Retirement TV. Take care now.